Oh, things are popping. Ow. I swear once you get past a certain age, it's just nothing but creaks and pops in the bones. Hi everyone, Rose here, once again to tell you that I love fanfiction. Now when it comes to fanfiction, and I think fiction in general, there are just so many tropes out there, and I thought it would be fun to create a game out of this fact in a this or that rapid fire tag fanfiction edition. And so this tag, it may only make sense to fellow fanfiction readers out there like myself, or it may make sense to really any kind of reader. I'm not entirely for sure. I feel like my perception is a little bit skewed, but in any case, I think we can just go ahead and jump into this tag. Fake dating or arranged marriage. Arranged marriage. Okay, both of them, they have their merit. Both of them can be very good, but there's just something, and I was thinking about this before I even pressed record, of like how to voice why I like arranged marriage so much. The only way I feel like I can articulate it is there's just a certain flavor of potential when it comes to arranged marriage, because you kind of already reached the peak. You're married. There's nothing more that you can do beyond that. And so just knowing, because it's fan fiction, you know where this is going to go. You know that these two people, or three, who knows, poly relationships represent, you know where this is going to head, whether these characters were already in love and then they were, then the arranged marriage happened, or they were strangers and then the arranged marriage happened. You just know that they're going to end up wanting to remain married at the end, and I love that stuff. Okay, so very loud noises indeed. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ambiguous ending or major character death. Ambiguous ending. But in reality, I'm not really a fan of either one of those tropes. I very, 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 very rarely ever go into a story knowing that a major character, probably one of my favorite major characters, is gonna die. I just don't want to be sad. I like myself some happy endings, and I don't want to see my favorite characters die. No. So ambiguous endings, I have a little more tolerance for that. However, I much prefer knowing how a story ends. And what I mean by that is I don't necessarily want every single story that I read to have a nice, neat little bow tied up ending. I don't need that. I don't think that's necessary. There can still be some lingering questions and some things here and there that I, myself, the reader, needs to fill in, if you follow me. I don't generally like stories where they leave too much open for interpretation. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Not my cup of tea. We're good on that. Okay, let's move on. Meet cute or blind date. Meet cute. That shit gets me every time. I have probably read at least like 10,000 variations of meet cutes. The possibilities are endless. Blind dates, those are fine. I've read plenty of those, but there is just something special about a meet cute. It just has a warm place in my heart. I feel like there's really no other explanation I need to give. Yeah, it's good stuff. So we're gonna move on. Established relationship or first date. I lean towards established relationship. First dates, whether they go smoothly, whether they are awkward, all of that stuff can be good and fun. But I think why I tend to prefer established relationships is because I just really enjoy a strong unit working their way through life and just solving problems together. I love that stuff. Cool. Moving on. Canon-compliant or canon-divergent. Ooh, I made this hard for myself because this really depends on the fandom. I feel like I need to give an example here. So, Endgame. There are things that, if I were to read fanfiction for that, and I have, I would much prefer canon-divergent, or more specifically, fix-it. But canon-divergent because there are some things in Endgame that I didn't particularly care for, that I would much rather read a different version of. So, but yeah, it really depends on the fandom. Cool. Okay. High school or college AU? I would definitely say I much prefer college because, you know, characters are at an age where they can just do more things, and usually when it comes to college, a lot of the times the characters are between like the age of like 18 all the way up to like 22 years old. So I wouldn't necessarily say that they have a ton of life experience, but they have more life experience than high schoolers, and I find that more, you know, relatable and generally enjoyable. I prefer to read people who are closer to my age. There's less restrictions, I should say, when it comes to college AUs and just college aged people in general. Cool. Yeah. Historical or modern times AU? Again, this is really difficult for me because it totally depends on the fandom. But I guess I would have to say I generally gravitate towards modern AU the most, whether the canon story already takes place in modern times, probably because it's what I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with modern times. But historical, that stuff can be so enjoyable. And there's just so much potential because, like, when it comes to historical, you have thousands of years to choose from. It's kind of endless. Yeah, nothing grand to say on that, but I think I tend to lean more towards modern times AU. Okay, magical or no powers AU? Another hard one, but I think I tend to gravitate towards no powers, probably because we unfortunately live in a reality where we don't have magical creatures and we don't have any kind of magic in the, you know, wand wielding sense. So because this is what I know, it's relatable. And I definitely enjoy, depending on what kind of fandom I'm reading in. If I am coming from a fandom where they do have magical elements in it, it's just fun to see the characters have to go through life without powers. Like, how would they navigate a world where they never grew up in a magical world? Okay, no powers. Moving on. Slow burn or insta love? Yo, slow burn is my jam. There is a time and a place for insta love if it is done well. Is it generally that can be a hit and miss for me. But ooh, no matter what, like slow burn. I like the journey of people falling in love. Yes. Classic right here. Coffee shop or office AU? Immediately coffee shop. That, as I just said, that is a classic, especially when it comes to the fanfiction world. Pretty much no matter what fandom I have read for. Okay, fun little tangent. I am a weirdo who, when I've done any kind of work in a coffee shop or a library, those particular settings, they make me sleepy, and this has always been a fact. I don't know why. You would think it would be the opposite because it feels like so many other people, particularly my husband, he feels energized from being in a different environment, particularly coffee shops. He really loves coffee shops. It's not that I don't love coffee shops, but they make me sleepy, and I don't know why. Anyways, tangent over. Oh, readjusting my left foot is falling asleep. There's something special about coffee shops. I don't know how else to explain that. And we're gonna move on to the next one. Okay, friends to lovers or enemies to lovers? Okay, I'm leaning towards friends to lovers. Although enemies to lovers, there is just, so much spicy potential in that. Some juicy stuff, some drama. Love that for stories and characters, but friends to lovers, because it's about the connection, the friendship connection. In stories and fan fiction and such, I just enjoy seeing a friendship evolving into more, you know? Although, of course, I'm not trying to say that there's friendships in general are lesser than romantic relationships. Don't get it twisted. Do you follow me? There's just... Lordy, now I'm getting hot. I'm getting worked up, okay? Fan fiction. It just gets me excited. Anyways, in conclusion for Friends thing, I just really enjoy seeing a friendship evolve into something more rather than just two people kind of jumping into a romantic relationship and then at the same time, I guess, developing a friendship out of that. I don't know if that made sense, but we're gonna move on because, yeah. Okay, Apocalyptic. Oh my god, are y'all okay? Apocalyptic or dystopian? Dystopian. In reality, I'm not a big fan of either trope, particularly apocalyptic. I just generally find apocalyptic stories a bit of a downer, just the nature of it. And dystopian, there is possibility when it comes to dystopian. For example, let's say there is a world where on Earth that the oceans rise and everybody has to learn how to live in bubbles underneath the water. That could be cool, but I don't know. I'm still just generally not drawn to dystopian worlds. I'm not writing them out, but just not drawn to them. But if I have to pick one, I would definitely go for dystopian over apocalyptic. Okay, cool. Simple as that. Mutual pining or secret relationship. This is tough because both can be so good. But I'm gonna have to go with mutual pining. It never gets old to me, particularly in stories where generally the characters are just being oblivious idiots a lot of the times in fan fiction in particular. And they can't see that the other person actually likes them, but the other characters, a lot of times in the stories, they can tell, like, you two like each other. Why are you not together? And I always love those moments when it finally clicks for the two characters, or more than two characters, when it finally clicks for the characters of, oh my god, you've liked me this whole time? Are you trying to say that we could have been banging or just having some serious cuddle fests like this entire time? All of the time that we've wasted, why? Love that stuff. And, you know, secret relationships, there's so much potential juicy drama that can come out of that. Love that stuff too, but mutual pining. Fluff or hurt comfort? I love both, but I'm gonna go with fluff. Simply because fluff equals happiness. I like happy stories. There's nothing really deeper beyond that, so roommates or next door neighbors? I'm gonna have to go with roommates, and oh my god, they were roommates. Because it's the proximity, and usually this always goes into, it flows into the trope of mutual pining. The kind of tension that it creates. Just simply that. Roommates, man. Childhood friends or first meeting? Again, both are great. Both have their time and place, but I'm gonna have to go with childhood friend. Ooh, and like the different variations of childhood friends, I actually really wish there was more stories out there, more fan fiction out there that started with this, because whether it's they are childhood friends and they grow up and they live, they grow up together into adulthood, or they are childhood friends and one of them has to move away for some odd years and they lose connection, or they stay connected, but in any case it's years down the road and then eventually they reconnect and and then they're okay, and then there's usually like the added drama, especially if they do grow up together into adulthood, of like both of them, they date other people and there's still that mutual pining. I love the mutual pining weaved into other tropes. But anyways, the mutual pining of they're dating other people, but they still like each other, but then they're just worried like, but they're my best friend and I don't want to ruin anything. And I could read about 50,000 variations of that and never tire of it. Okay, cool. This is going on a while. And here I thought I created a respectable length of this or that. As I said at the beginning, there's so many tropes out there, and eventually down the line, I could probably do a part 2 or what would I call it? Second edition. We shall see. For all of you out there that are interested in doing this tag, anyone can do it. There's clearly no limit to how long or short your responses have to be. Just have fun with it. And by the way, if you are a fellow fanfiction reader like myself, what fandom or fandoms are you currently reading in? So for me, it is The Old Guard, Spartacus, and Teen Wolf. There's a lot of other fandoms that I read in, but those are the ones I'm currently actively reading in. And let me know, in the comments down below, do I have any other words to say? No, I think this has gone on long enough. We are now at the end. Welcome to it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was entertaining, even if you're not a fan fiction reader like myself. That's cool. Please take care, everyone, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.